want you to tell us your experience from the nomination, winning, and whether it has opened doors for you. Yes. And maybe what you would tell another aspiring young advocate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so the entire process for the award was really interesting because I mean it was the first time it was being done, so there wasn't really a precedent which has been done that you could follow. You know, as lawyers, precedents are big things. So it's just so I received the notification of the nomination that I had been nominated. At first, I actually had to call someone at the branch so as to confirm I'm not being pranked.
Oh, you have those friends?
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, even this show could be a prank. And now we're waiting a camera coming out of. Yeah. So with this generation, we must be ready for a prank anytime. So I called someone at the branch, like, I've received this email. Is it true I've been nominated? Yeah, you've been nominated, so you just follow the process. Like, oh wow, so I've been nominated. So I read through the requirements. They were quite detailed.
Now, what are the requirements? That's what we want to know. What are the requirements? So
the requirements were you were to fill in a number of questions, but they were really reflecting what you've done in your technical capacity.
Yes.
Beyond your technical capacity, what have you done to also beyond the legal practice to contribute to the profession, to also contribute in terms of growth of much younger advocates. And beyond that, who can vouch for this? Because they didn't want it to be an aspect of you just saying this. So they wanted it to be for you to have two referees who are your colleagues, but also two non-colleague referees. So when I just looked at everything and the kind of information which they needed and the documentation, of course, the first person I had to speak to was my boss, formally. But the other people will celebrate with your wins. Yeah. So this one, I called them and told them, hey, I've been nominated for this, and they were excited for me. So, the next day, after going through everything and just appreciating what is required, so I went to my boss. My boss then was Richard Omela. He's the senior partner at Kendrick's Hamilton Matthews. I just told him, sir, is this nomination which I've received? I think it's a good thing. I'd like to submit an application, but there's some point where I'm going to need to share some of the work which we are doing, and I'll need referees from your end, maybe some other person from the firm, and I also need referees from outside. So of course I needed to get that approval from the firm, because there's some information which usually need first the client confirmation before you can share that, because of that advocate-client confidentiality, you can't share everything, and there's a scope within that which is covered. And he was actually very positive about it, like, oh, wow, that's really good, congratulations. So he was so excited about it. For me, I thought it would just be our own discussion and we'd keep it. So the next departmental meeting, he announces to everyone. So at that point, it's just a nomination. Yeah. You're not sure if you're going to win. You don't even know who are the other people. So I didn't want many people to know, just in case I don't win. You don't want it to be stuck with that thing that you got into something. Most of us don't like losing. So if you're losing, just be a private loss, you keep quiet and move on. So departmental meeting were there after the serious stuff has been discussed. Then we'd have a session where general things are discussed. So I guess he waited for them to say. I didn't say anything. It's like, oh yeah, and also congratulations, really. Share the team, you've been nominated for this award. So I'm like, oh, it's just a nomination. Let's wait for this thing. So but yeah, I guess that also gave me the pressure to ensure I put my best foot forward. So filled in that. First of all, it was a written application. So of course you ask in terms of what you've done and what do you think was impactful or good about that work that it should make you be selected as a young lawyer of the year. So there's that technical aspect. So luckily at that point, because of also the exposure which the firm had given me, I had been involved in some significant transactions in the corporate space in Nairobi. So and we had the approvals to disclose some of those ones because they had also been shared in the other rankings for Chambers Global, Equal 500. So and some of them were also already in the public domain. So it was easy to disclose that those transactions. and the role which I had played. Of course, at that point, the role which I was playing was as a team member, but the significant aspect which I played in that. So the written submission, then you say that, then in terms of contribution to the society, of course, at that point, you haven't done much in terms of contribution to the society. So you, luckily, I had been chairman of some board for some voluntary organization which supports education for the orphaned and underprivileged children in the society. So I used that because part of why I was the chairman of the board was my legal skills. And I was actually, we are doing a direct impact to the society with that. And then in terms of what you've done now, in terms of contributing towards growth of younger lawyers and other people who have come, so there's the aspect I had participated in a number of mentorship sessions. And in addition to that, I had also judged the vote court sessions and all that. So I just added all those things in there, put them in. And then now the referees, so of course my boss then was one of the referees, another boss in the department did that, then some other two people outside the firm agreed to be my referees. So when I submitted, of course there were the additional things they needed, tax clearance certificate. Again, luckily I had it. Yeah, at some point, there's that excitement you have at some point where you apply for everything. Yeah, so luckily I had it. The LSK compliance, what do they call it? There's some letter of something. Yeah, those LSK compliances and everything. So I had all those documentation. Put them in, submitted them, they shortlisted, and they called us now for an interview, where they come now to interview on the aspects which you put in your written application. So there's a panel which you face. So the panel grilled me on those aspects to just understand the aspects which they put out. Then after that, they reached out to the people you put as referees to actually verify the items that you've put there. Then the award ceremony came, showed up there. At this point, everyone in the family had been nominated. So, I mean, if I hadn't won the next yes. So the next day would have been a bit awkward. So yeah, then the announcements came, so they started with the third runners up. I wasn't called, I was like, okay. That's both a good and a bad thing. Yeah, because it can go really bad. If you lose, you'd rather be at least in that three category. So they went second runners up, not there. So it's still a good and bad thing. And they went first runners up. I'm not there. Still a good and a bad thing. So there's only one slot remaining. So here it's all on the table. Yes. Either you're winning it or you're losing. And you've lost so badly that you haven't made it to the first three. I'm such a competitive spirit. I mean, I'm very competitive in everything I do.
But I've always beaten you at this night.
Yes. Let's speak after I say how I won this one. Yeah, so
which he has not won.
It's our.
Yeah, but his team has always beaten mine, so but that's a duel that should continue. Yeah, so then I mean I was announced Young Man of the Year. I mean it felt good at that point. I mean it was really felt nice. But then beyond the feeling good, that responsibility of it also started dawning as at that point. So as I was walking to the podium, because would give a short speech as you are accepting the award, then you realize the importance of that moment, because there are senior lawyers, there are younger lawyers, recorded and shared in various platforms. So quickly I went into the mode of this is a very good thing. It feels nice, but I also have to take it as a responsibility now. This platform I have, I need to both communicate to my fellow lawyers in terms of sharing this award with them as a common victory, but also to communicate to these lawyers who are seated here that indeed as a generation, we thank you for the opportunities that you've given us, and we actually have what it takes to continue taking advantage of those opportunities and actually adding value. So that's the mindset that I quickly shifted to. And those are the things I say in terms of when I was giving my acceptance speech at the podium. Yeah, so that was the process. It was quite thorough. At some point, it felt a bit exhausting because the guys were giving me an award. Why are you taking me through all this? But at the end of it all, I really appreciate why they had to be thorough and really take you through that entire process so that they can build credibility of the awards and all that. Yeah.
Let's talk about Eve. You tell us what Tiba is about, what it is, first of all. Kulikuwa na mtu mgonjwa ndio useme Tiba. Was it intentional?
No, it's
not intentional. It's an acronym.
Yeah. I mean, Tiba is the Young Bar Association. It's a long story how it started and how it has grown to be what it is. We never thought we'll come together as young advocates to do anything. It was a transition from the studentship to being now young advocates. If you look at the legal profession as it is right now, the majority are young advocates, but they do not have a platform. There is no platform where I can engage Rubin, I can engage yourself, and these two winners of the young.
Huyu ongei story yake iko hapa leo. We only have two guests.
I am a host.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I am a host.
They've put the name of the young advocates up there because of what they have done in their individual capacity and as individuals in their respective places of work. And we need to celebrate them. And of course, the lady who won the latest, the young Laila. So I think it's a good initiative, and we don't have a platform as young advocates to even associate, discuss, and even share matters to do with practice and even social life. Yeah. So we started as a WhatsApp group, the Young Bar Association. We could engage on so many issues. We built friendships, and then gradually we grew up to 3, 4, 5 groups because everyone wanted to be added. We could share materials in terms of our practice. We could share ideas and cases. We could consult. We could assist each other. Like for instance, nowadays, if someone has a matter in let's say Kisumu, who is in Kisumu, can you hold my brief? You understand the legal process and how you need legal assistance also. So it brought practice. It made Tiba makes practice much simpler and interactive. Remember, we have big groups for where there are senior lawyers and junior lawyers, but that space, junior lawyers don't even have us anything to say. Going by our tradition, sometimes you don't. Either, of course, we have our own opinions, but we don't like expressing them in those forums. Why? Because sometimes these seniors are employers, and sometimes you might, express your mind, which might offend your groups. And so we had to have a platform where young lawyers are comfortable with each other. We can have a conversation on a range of issues and at least come together generally. So that's how it was conceptualized. We started with a few numbers. Now we are close to almost 600 to 700 members. So essentially, the Young Bar Association is the Young Bar. What we do is matters welfare, and I think you're in the forum, you're in our forum, Ruben is in our forum. You've seen what Tiba has done to our members. We started with contributing. You'll be surprised to know that a majority of young advocates don't even have medical covers themselves. They don't have because either they are jobless or maybe even if they have a job, it does not cater for that cover or they do not essentially have capacity in terms of resources to put their houses in order. And so one of the issues that Tiba wanted to take care of is that aspect of welfare. How do we get a group cover ourselves so that we are covered medically? How do we get the last respect cover? Like the one, I think we launched the last respect cover a month ago, and it's been rolled out. Yesterday we had the Zoom meeting where members were taken through how to register, how to pay for it. It will come in handy. If you look at the history of Tiba, we've been making contributions every week for someone. Maybe they have lost a parent,
they have lost a sibling or we have lost a member, a team member. So to avoid all that contribution, because it's not sustainable, we had to go out of our way to ensure that we get an underwriter, get a last respecter, which is affordable and which can actually help our members when they are bereaved. And also we are looking at aspects of investment. Senior lawyers investment rules, but you can't get into that space. So the question is, how do I invest with what I have? Then TIBA has that committee for the investment committee for people who are interested in getting into matters of investment. We have other committees that deal with matters to do with depression. We have so many of our members who are in depression, I think people don't know that we have some of our young kids that it's so emotional that they've been neglected. And how do we address these issues? We have people who have left practice, they've gone into the village because they do not have a direction. And so TIBA essentially wants to bring these people back so that now we have a conversation that can assist those of our members who are sliding, those of our members who have issues to do with sustaining themselves and stuff like that. So that is how the idea was conceptualized. The issue is about welfare, nothing else. It's to come together, sit, talk, discuss, drink together, uji, have a social life together. Yes, and so there is no platform. You can admit that there is no other platform.
Yes.
That gives young advocates essentially the ability to meet, have these discussions, talk about welfare and stuff like that. And so that's how it was conceptualized. Yes.
Also for the record, a young by conversation, one of the first ones, they were had in my house.
Yes.
Oh, really? Just for
actually, just so you know,
I should join.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I think that was back in 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
Yes. This gentleman invited us.
Is he in the committee?
I'm a guy there.
The guy for
I'm the guy who brings him.
The guy for Uji.
I'm the guy for Uji.
Yeah. And actually, that conversation now, you can see how much it's now influencing our members and how people are benefiting.
Yes.
There is much that we can do as young advocates. It's if you are 0 to 10 years, then you are qualified to be a member of TIBA, and you can actually participate in those activities. We are not political. We do not have political.
Ngoja. Tutakuja hapo. We are coming there.
So reading, nimeambiwa nikuulize kwa Kiswahili. Sasa after kupata baada ya kupata hiyo zawadi ya Young Lawyer of the Year imekusaidia
wakili mchanga wa mwaka.
Wakili mchanga wa mwaka. Imekusaidia aje katika maisha yako ya kikazi? Si maisha yako huko. Kwa maisha yako ya kikazi. Na pia just answer the question.
Thank you very much. I hope you don't want me to answer in Kiswahili.
Please do. Can you try? Mutua is asking everybody to speak in Swahili, please.
The socials.
Yeah,
let's do that in the socials.
Yeah, so I mean, absolutely, the award really has come in handy and has opened a lot of opportunities for me. So I'd like to just recommend them two ways, both personally and also externally. So as I said, personally, I took this award, of course it was an achievement that it felt good, but I also took it as a responsibility, because right now having the award like the Young Lawyer of the Year, there's some sort of responsibility which is given to you, because you're in the very first instance, you're an ambassador for these awards, and how you continue carrying out yourself during that year and going forward reflects actually the credibility of these awards. And secondly, you're also an ambassador of your fellow young lawyers, because of the platforms which this opportunity is giving you. So I took it as a very heavy responsibility. It renewed in me that aspect that at this point I'm not only just doing it for myself, but there's a constituent which I'm representing, both the awards team and also my fellow young lawyers. Whenever I'll be showing up anywhere under the award, that's just now personal. It made me work harder, think more responsibly, and all those aspects. Now externally, the award actually opened up a lot of platforms to interact more with professionals, even in other fields, because I was now being invited to speak at certain places, mentor young lawyers, speak as places as a young lawyer of the year. But more significantly, and there was an interesting coincidence. So when I won the Young Lawyer of the Year, the firm which I'm a partner in right now, Ashitiba Advocates, had actually won Law Firm of the Year. Yeah. So
is that why you stroke the conversation?
No, we did not strike the conversation there, but I actually believed on both our sides that platform gave both of us an award to start knowing each other. The firm to start knowing who I am, and I also to start knowing who the firm, who they were. Because when they won the Law Firm of the Year, they actually spoke about what the firm was doing, who they are, and why they won that award. And that time we struck a conversation with a few of them and became friends with some people from that point. So, so in terms of the speaking engagements, a platform, now this gave me that opportunity to start interacting with the firm where I am right now. And but more importantly, it's the doors in terms of those platforms, the places you'll be invited to speak, the places, and even in my CV and profile, just putting there, won the Young Lawyer of the Year in my first year of practice. It's really boosting that aspect in terms of the CV, and also even the pictures which are making to clients, to be able to get to work and all that. So it's been really significant, both personally, internally, and also externally.
Manuel, there are guys who are looking at this young bar as an attempt to break away from the mother society. So maybe you could put a word and try and explain how that relationship works for both of you guys. Alafu pia jambo la pili, wewe ni kiongozi wa wakili 600. Wakili very liberal. How do you ensure that those people, you can answer in Swahili, you can answer in Swahili English, you can answer Mimi nimeuliza both in Swahili and English and in Swahili English.
I think if the 2 Young Lawyers of the Years that have passed
Who are you?
they're set up on this show.
But you know mimi nimejaribu.
I defy to the next session.
Okay, on the 2 questions, I think there is a perception that is being created that TIBA is rivaling the mother society, SK. Away from it, TIBA's agenda, as I said, is clear. The idea is about our welfare, our well-being as advocates. I mean, let me ask you, what we are doing right now as TIBA, the society has neglected to do it. And I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, I'm just saying, what is the society doing on the welfare issues? Let me break it down to you. We pay close to 20,000 a year to the Law Society. What we give back? A half-page document called Practicing Certificate. Do we get anything else? Unless you tell me. And the emails that we get. How is the society enhancing a young advocate's practice? There is no way whatsoever. I mean, I give credence to Nairobi Branch because their works, at least they recognize the young advocates, and they do just to ensure that at least we are in place and we are appreciated. The society does not know who a young lawyer is other than the money that he pays. And I think this is the conversation we need to have. How is it that they refused to register TIBA initially for reason that we were regular. We are specific on young because we know what is happening between 0 to 10 years of practice. We just want to change the practice environment for ourselves and make it better. There is unity when we come together as a team because we are so many of us. Actually, 90% of the 18,000 advocates constitute young advocates. We are the majority of the members of the society, but the society does not care about that. And you see, that's why we went to the registrar when we wanted to register. They told us, go to the society and get a letter of notification. Initially, that is under the old council. They wrote back and said, we object to the registration for reason that they are going to have, which was preposterous. So we thought we can still apply again. We applied again under the new regime. Of course, we were given a letter of notification. And as a matter of fact, we were equally, the Register of Society is one of our members, is one of our senior members who saw what we want to do for young advocates and proceeded and registered. We appreciate what they have done. We are now registered. Are we private in the society? No. We want to work with the society so that now we can actually achieve our welfare issues. And that's why we need to set the record clear. We are not private in the society. We are members of the society as of right because we pay and subscribe to the society as per the statute. And so we are not going to take that responsibility out of the society, but we will have to take our welfare issues for ourselves because there is nobody. The society has shown that it will not actually deal with the welfare issues. Let me give you an example. If one of us, a young advocate, is bereaved, ask yourself, how many people come through for that young advocate? Now have the same scenario for a senior advocate. How many people come? There is a discrepancy in terms of attention to the needs of the members. On the basis, and I don't blame the seniors. It's for reason that they are seniors. They have been practiced for quite some time, and therefore they are known. So what happens to this young advocate who's not known? Yet he has needs, yet he's a subscribed member of the society. We need to actually look at TIBA from that point of view. That we know we need to come together to be able to survive as young advocates in practice. And secondly, we need to work together, of course, with the mother body, that is the law society, for purposes of achieving that purpose. On the second issue of young, vibrant, aggressive, and
edgy,
and free-minded, and you can describe them as such. I think that is one of the principles of building up. Most of young advocates who are actively asking questions, actively participating in political affairs. And initially people thought it was a political entity, but it's not. Because the conversations, we do not bring TIBA into the politics of the Law Society, because we have TIBA members who come from different political divides. And so we don't entertain politics in their affairs, because the issues of welfare can never be politicized. And if we are to succeed, therefore, we have to put politics aside for purposes of ensuring that we deal with these welfare issues. And so of course, there are those young advocates who still are shaky as to whether they can participate in our activities or not. I want to tell them that they cannot survive alone in practice. You have to work with other young advocates to survive, to learn, to appreciate the practice environment, at the same time to take care of your welfare issues. We have to come together. We are the majority. Assuming assuming the society could have been handling us on the basis of our contributions, the younger you are, the more you pay to the society. I believe the first year you pay almost 15,000, and you also pay money through CPDs, but there is nothing that comes back, and these are legitimate questions.
The first year is not 15, so
it's 20 years. Yeah, it's 20, and then subsequently becomes 15. So you see, we need to know what is the society doing for us in terms of welfare. Of course, they have the statutory duty in that as well. What have they done for the membership? There is nothing that they have done. So when young advocates choose to come together, I don't think whether it would be prudent to fight them, because they're not essentially taking away the responsibilities that the society already has. They actually want to assist the society in a way that they can actually take up their own responsibilities in terms of matters of. And so I think there is that aggressiveness, of course, that we had when we wanted to be registered, and we got, of course, opposition from certain quarters, but at least now we're registered, and we are rolling out. We have been rolling out the last respect cover, the medical cover is coming, and those other issues that we have stated earlier are coming. And so we are going to launch our chapters in Eldoret, in Kisumu, in Mombasa, for the purpose of bringing together the young advocates who are the majority of our members.
Sasa kiongozi, nataka uniambie, what is the most ridiculous thing you've ever had in court? From a practitioner. Let me just leave it at that. It doesn't have to have to be court. It could be a transaction on a closing. You're closing a transaction. What's the most ridiculous thing ukaibu ukasema? Hey! Yeah, hapo jamaa mpenda. Yes.
Yeah, so this is one time when senior doctor appeared in court, and the opposing counsel was there were several advocates from the other side, and then there was another advocate who wanted to come on record to join himself in the matter, and he had not done an application to do so. And so Senior Amino stood and told the court, my lord, perhaps you can issue an injunction to stop advocate so and so from opening his mouth. Very surprisingly, the other advocate could raise an objection and say, Mr. Amino, Dr. Amino should quote the section of law where he wants the court to have such an injunction, whether it can be issued in our court. Yeah, everyone was, it was the funniest joke that day. Even the judge could Senior Amino is one of the most, court-friendly and very good senior who makes court come to so that's one of the experiences that I thought was funny.
Okay. The last one. Wacha nikuulize swali la mwisho bwana Ribi Ndwari. Manwa hapa amesema amewakili ya kwamba kuna mawakili ambao wako na umri mdogo ambao wako hospitalini kwa mashida ya mental health. How do you keep yourself sane in a world where there is so much going on?
Asante sana. So, huwa nafanya vitu kadha wa kadha katika ile harakati ya keep sane. Mojawapo ni kukimbia. Napenda kukimbia kutoa depression, especially weekends. Sababu mara mingi unapata wiki kuna kazi mingi na pressure na so weekend I try to just go run to release that pressure, but beyond that also I try to be social because at some level it's needed in our profession, but also as a human being. So I try to find out interesting social events and just attend. Like the other day I was at Winning Post.
Piano guys.
Yes. So I've never liked piano, but in a way it's starting to become an acquiring taste. So my friends were there, and there's this DJ from South Africa. Everyone was cheering when I was there. I don't know who this is, but
when was that?
Like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
A week or 2 weeks ago. So just finding interesting social events to just attend and just find a way to just be out there interacting with people. Before COVID shut down our stadiums, a number of friends would take me to the Gor Mahia FC matches. there used to be such an amazing experience, of course, apart from some ew, tear gas. Yeah, but also just being there, being in the stadium. No, I enjoy football. I watch it on the screens, but it's a totally different experience when you are there in the field actually, and the entire crowd is really routing for the team. So that one was really applicable mostly before COVID came and shut down our stadium. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, for our stadiums to be open and I go back. But the other one is polo. I love watching polo.
You're my guy.
I love watching polo. I was there. There was a cup just the other day.
Which one?
It's called the Connacht.
Connacht,
yeah, Connacht Cup. I attended that one.
Who's your favorite player?
It's called Kimoi.
Kimoi.
Yeah,
Handicap
Kimoi.
2.5.
Yes.
Which is the team in zone?
Yeah. I mean,
Are you guys going Sorry.
Yeah. So actually, it's so interesting. Even a couple of years back, when I was in the UK in Ascot, I went to the Ascot Race Course to just get that experience. I missed the Royal, the Royal. It's called the Royal.
The Chelsea one.
Yeah, the Royal. It's called the Royal something, which usually happens there by a few weeks.
Yeah.
I would have attended it if it coincided in my visit. So those are some of the things I try to keep safe, because I mean our profession demands a lot of us, putting a lot of pressure. But beyond that, you need to find those aspects, and TIPA is offering us a very good platform in terms of catching up at everything. Because the other day with Manuel, they were launching the last mile cover, and beyond the seriousness of it all, we actually interacted and had a good time and released pressure and all that. So those are most the avenues that I'm engaging.
Manuel.
I think it's a similar experience, only that I don't watch polo.
Of course, you're Lunda. Lunda.
I love music. Of course, we attend concerts here and there. I can't be very specific because I don't have a specific taste.
Rumba.
But anywhere where there is nice it helps you remove pressure from workplace. Of course, also, I mean, having enough rest. Sleep. Most of us do not even have enough time to sleep. So when you have a chance to, it also helps to put you back in perspective. I really love travel. Just out of town, just to enjoy the road.
Subaru gang.
I don't think
No, we can
I don't
drive
go to Subaru town. But yeah, so socially meeting with my colleagues once in a while helps to release and maybe catch up on people issues. Yeah, so that keeps us in check at the same time. I'm also going to church.
bado unaipanga kwa kanisa?
Planning to go back. It's a serious venture. Especially I have very musical friends. They've taught me how much of a serious venture it is. It requires a lot of time, so you've got to go into the professionals, taking a lot of my time. But I'm actually committed. Interestingly enough, that time when COVID was beginning, I had even signed up for an association to start to learn to play the piano. Then life happened. But now that you've actually asked me that question, let me see how I can return that. Because I want to, this is not a long-term plan, I want to grow up to be those old classics. I'm not wearing the suit, just a suit,
When you leave here, you have a city.
That's good to change.
Yeah, no, I'll keep it this way in honor of the amazing session we had. But yeah, the piano is something I'd love to play. And just.
Mabibi mama bwana, show ya leo tumekuwa tukifanyia mahali kunaitwa Alumni by Caballeros. It's in Kileleshwa, and we've had a fantastic show. We've had two amazing guests. One has been the Young Lawyer of the Year. First one, we have the chairperson for the Young Bar Association, And we also have another fella who claims to have won the young year of the, I don't know which year. We'll have that conversation later on. Anyway, it's been an amazing Saturday. We've had so much fun. We've enjoyed ourselves. Our guests have enjoyed themselves. And we're looking for the next edition.
Thank you very much. Next time, I'm sure you have noticed there have been a lot of testosterone in our show. Too many men. Many men. So in the next show, we'll try to look for...
We're going to kill all the men.
Yeah, we're going to kill all the men. We'll just talk to ladies and see. You know, someone looking at our show might think every lawyer in Kenya is a man.
Yeah.
No. It's just a coincidence. So next time, hopefully we'll have some ladies on the show. Alright. See you next time.
Gang.
Are you a Tiba guy? You're a
Tiba member. You are a Tiba member.
I know,
Not by choice.
Okay. Yes.
Mbanga kwa ya muulize kwa.
Sasa hata naweza kuuliza swali la madeni.